There's a revolving door at the back end of the roster in Santa Clara, and it didn't stop turning just because Kyle Shanahan canceled minicamp. One running back came back, another one was pushed out. But that little move connects to a much bigger concern. This defense still needs pressure, and a name from inside the NFC West has now entered the conversation. Meanwhile, an overlooked starter could take the leap that helps protect Purdy, and George Kittle just gave us a real clue about this offense's speed. Subscribe, because today we're reading between the lines. That movement begins with sincere McCormick, a player who might as well keep a bag packed outside the team facility. The 49ers signed him to another one-year deal and waived Jordan Mims to open the roster spot. Mims arrived on May 28th, the same day San Francisco released McCormick. Now the door spins again. This is not going to shake the league, but it does show exactly how this coaching staff views those final roster spots. McCormick has been in the NFL since 2022, when he joined the Raiders as an undrafted free agent. After staying with Las Vegas through 2024, he moved through San Francisco, Arizona, Denver, and Minnesota, bouncing between active rosters and practice squads. He appeared in 5 games during that recent stretch. The 49ers are not bringing in some total stranger. Shanahan and his staff have seen him up close, know how he works, and decided to bring him back only weeks after replacing him. Behind the scenes, this feels less like a huge bet on McCormick and more like a message to everyone near the bottom of the depth chart. Nobody has a permanent seat. Christian McCaffrey operates on a completely different level. Rookies Jordan James and Kaelon Black arrive with draft investment and real expectations. The true pressure starts behind them, where every practice rep, pass protection assignment, and special team snap could decide who stays. That's where Isaac Guerendo has to start checking his rearview mirror. The athletic talent is absolutely real, but his roster spot should not be treated as untouchable. Patrick Taylor brings experience and value covering kicks, while Guerendo lost some ground in that area. At the bottom of a roster, running ability matters. Surviving across 3 different units often makes the final decision. Do not get distracted by the size of the transaction. McCormick returning and Mims leaving tells us this staff is still testing combinations, comparing roles, and refusing to let anybody get comfortable. Minicamp was canceled as a reward for perfect attendance during voluntary workouts, but the people building this roster kept working. The players may be getting a break in Santa Clara, the competition is not. Another phone call could shake up that running back room again before training camp, but the phone call that would really get people's attention would not involve the bottom of the roster. It would go straight into the NFC West, the kind of conversation that starts politely and ends with somebody asking what it costs to weaken a rival. The name is Josh Sweat, the Arizona Cardinals edge rusher. Grant Cohn publicly suggested that the 49ers should consider him as a more affordable alternative to making a massive move for Max Crosby. The spark came from Arizona's offseason program. Sweat reported for mandatory minicamp, but did not practice after following his own training program. Head coach Mike LaFleur cooled things down. He explained that he would not put a player on the field after that player missed the earlier phases of teamwork, and he said he was not concerned because Sweat has prepared this way before. Those comments do not scream fractured relationship. Still, when a productive pass rusher stays off the field and a defense desperate for sacks sits in the same division, even a small opening can get trade conversations moving. San Francisco has every reason to investigate any opening. The defense recorded only 20 sacks last season. Nick Bosa can raise that number. Michael Williams brings hope once he returns from injury, and Romello Height arrives as a young option. But relying on a perfect recovery, an immediate breakout, and Bosa carrying the entire threat would leave a contender dangerously exposed in a division where Sean McVay designs offenses and Mike McDonald creates relentless pressure. Sweat produced 12 sacks, 47 pressures, and 3 forced fumbles for Arizona last season, while earning a 74.2 overall defensive grade from PFF. He would not be a decorative addition. He could force protections to split their attention, speed up the quarterback's clock, and bring violence back to a defensive front that lost some of its intimidation factor. Cohn also argued that a deal might not require a first-round pick or another player. That is the tempting part. It is also impossible to assume unless Arizona is actually willing to talk. Alex Boone gave the reality check. Why would the Cardinals directly help the 49ers? An NFC West trade comes with an emotional, strategic, and political tax. Arizona would have to explain why it handed a proven sack producer to an opponent it will face twice. Even if the front office expects a difficult 2026 season, Strengthening San Francisco could cost far more than any neutral valuation suggests. My argument is not that Sweat already has his bags packed for Santa Clara. John Lynch should simply test how firmly that door is closed. A team inside a championship window cannot hear "unlikely" and hang up before asking for the price. Arizona might shut it down right away. The Cardinals might demand something outrageous. But if real frustration or a future opening exists, the Niners need to enter the conversation before another contender does. The relevant behind-the-scenes story is not a deal nearing completion. It is the chance to find out whether that rival is really as unwilling as it appears. Not every addition capable of transforming an offense comes through a trade. Sometimes that player is already sitting in the offensive line room, coming off a season below his own standard, and entering year 3 with something personal to prove. That is Dominick Puni, Zachary Perellis' choice for CBS Sports, as the 49ers' under-the-radar breakout candidate in 2026. The selection stands out because Ricky Pearsall and Michael Williams naturally get more attention. Inside the building, though, Puni's growth could be more structurally important than flashy. Since arriving as a third-round pick, he has not missed a start at right guard. CBS mistakenly identified him as a left guard, but the bigger point still stands. Keeping that continuity on an offensive line hit so heavily by injuries is no small achievement. His rookie season set a strong standard. Puni earned an 80.5 overall offensive grade and an 81.5 run-blocking grade from PFF in 2024. Those numbers dropped to 69.2 and 67.9 in 2025. His pass-blocking grade also fell from 68.9 to 63.3, although he allowed only 1 sack. That decline deserves attention, but the context matters. Puni suffered a PCL injury during the preseason. Playing inside, absorbing the force of defensive tackles without being fully healthy, can steal a lineman's explosion, base, and confidence for months. That is where the football side of this story gets interesting. A healthy Puni does not need to become a national headline every Monday morning. He needs to start moving defenders in the running game again and get better when isolated in pass protection. Kyle Shanahan creates so many of his advantages when his linemen reach the second level quickly. If Puni recaptures the controlled violence of his rookie year, Christian McCaffrey gets cleaner lanes, and Brock Purdy faces fewer immediate collapses through the middle. Interior pressure is poison for a quarterback. It keeps him from stepping forward, shortens his reads, and ruins even a well-designed play. Puni's potential leap is not just a nice player development story. It could be one of the conditions that allows this offense to use all the speed being built around Purdy. I like this projection because it does not depend on marketing. It comes down to health, technique, and continuity. Puni has already shown that he can move people in the running game. Now he has to prove that his second season was a dip influenced partly by injury, not the new ceiling of his game. If his pass protection improves in year 3, San Francisco could find something incredibly valuable without spending another draft pick or creating more cap space. One of the conference's best young guards developing at the exact moment this championship window needs stability. And when the offensive line creates that extra half second, speed stops being a promise and becomes a weapon. That may be why one short George Kittle quote about Kaelon Black caught so much attention in Santa Clara. Very fast and very mature. 5 words from a veteran, but 2 traits that help explain why the 49ers saw third-round value where many people saw a reach. Black was rated as the 15th running back by some evaluators and entered the NFL at 24 years old. That combination made part of the fan base uncomfortable, an older prospect selected early and joining a room that already features Christian McCaffrey. But that criticism treats the draft like a consensus contest. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan were selecting a role for a specific offense inside a window that does not offer 3 years of patience. The maturity Kittle mentioned matters for exactly that reason. San Francisco does not have time to teach a rookie how to take the professional environment seriously while the calendar keeps moving. The team needs someone who can quickly absorb pass protection, route details, off-ball responsibilities, and special teams demands. Black's age might limit some of the long-term projection, but it could also shorten his adjustment period. For this roster, readiness matters more than imagining what he might become at 27. His speed addresses a tactical issue. The 49ers already have players who win with intelligence, strength, and spatial awareness. McCaffrey manipulates linebackers. Kittle attacks the middle and blocks like an extension of the offensive line. Mike Evans understands leverage and dominates contested situations. But this offense needed to stretch the field and force defenses to respect quick strike ability before crowding everything near the ball. Black and DeJohn Stribling appear to be part of that correction. Both arrive with the athletic ability to create long touchdowns and pull defenders away from the areas where San Francisco's veterans do their best work. That does not turn every question selection into a success before anyone plays an official snap. It shows that the traits being targeted fit together. Shanahan was not just collecting names. He was trying to change the space available on every play. Black may begin with limited touches, but those touches can be designed to make defenses uncomfortable. An outside run, motion before the snap, a reception against a linebacker, or a role in the return game could force opponents to reveal their speed and discipline. If he proves that he can also protect Purdy and execute without hesitation, his path onto the field gets much shorter. I want the community's read on this one. Does Kaelon Black's age still concern you? Or does the combination of maturity and explosiveness make the pick look smarter now? Put your answer in the comments because this debate is going to follow every training camp rep. Kittle's praise does not settle the evaluation. It gives us a window into what players are noticing up close. When a leader known for valuing physical work highlights speed and maturity, it is worth hearing him out. Maybe the 49ers did not select the most celebrated running back available in that range. Maybe they chose the player who best understands the urgency around this offense and has the legs to change its geometry immediately. The picture behind these stories is of a restless 49ers organization. The final spot in the backfield remains open. The lack of pressure requires Lynch to explore even unlikely paths. Puni carries the kind of development that could stabilize the offense, and Black provides the acceleration Shanahan was searching for. None of that guarantees a win in September. It does reveal a franchise trying to eliminate weaknesses before the spotlight exposes them. Now comes the stage where clues become competition. Subscribe to 49ers Express and follow every decision coming out of Santa Clara with us.